Good evening, everybody. This is James, one half of the Calamity Jane live stream that we usually try to bring on every Monday around 6:30 Pacific time, 9:30 on the East Coast. My partner, Eric, is at PAX setting up stuff for his day job. So he is out for tonight, so I'll be flying the ship solo. Um, and for tonight's stream, I figured I would kind of just do a little bit of cleanup with adding assets into different scenes and shots, and kind of just go linear, just kind of go forward, and I kind of pick and choose where I want to kind of fill in the gaps of some stuff that's missing. So if you notice here, I have my animatic storyboard here, and I have a missing asset for Mitchell here. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in this particular pose that I need here. Like I have some of it right here, but I'm going to add one more pose here to have him come up out of from behind the bar set up there, the bar cabinet. And on the other side here, we have Clem playing cards, and I'm going to try to go through what we already set up and see if I can find some assets to use for Clem in this shot. So I guess I'll just kind of get started here and see what I can kind of put together. So let's see. The first thing I'm going to be doing is let me track down where in the flash file this asset lives. So Mitchell lives here on layer 6. So I will continue to do that kind of work on layer 6 and make the new pose here. So in this case, I'm going to take my asset here on frame 1735, and I'll just hold my Alt click button and I'll drag it over. And so now I have him kind of duped in two places here, but this time I'm going to just actually, instead of using the same asset here that we can see as MO1 group 1, I'm just going to right click on him and then duplicate the symbol and call it group 2. Now that I've made a new symbol on the top level of this file, I can kind of zoom in and I can kind of make a new pose altogether and not worry about ruining the integrity of the asset that I just borrowed. I know it's probably kind of hard to kind of understand off the bat as I'm working through this, but if I was to duplicate this asset here, if I drag it over again, let's pretend I did it here instead. So on this frame, if I was to, let's say, put a big giant plane splash like that on him, I will now have it in both in my version here and my version here because they're all named the same kind of symbol. But if you notice on the symbol that I duplicated over here, he no longer has that. He doesn't have that paint splotch anymore. So what that tells me is I can pretty much edit this other unique symbol, and I'll delete this example here, this frame. But I can actually go into this symbol now, and I can actually start wrecking stuff and make a new kind of asset that I want to kind of have of him rising up behind the counter. So let's see, what am I going to do here? I will kind of have him hunched over a little bit, I think. So first things first, I'll do a little rough sketch first, and I'll do that in red. So, and this is nothing sacred with what I'm doing here. I'm just going to sketch out something that I feel will get the spirit of him coming out from behind the counter. So let's see here. So I'll kind of do my line of action, which is him hunched. So I'll kind of do that. And I think it's too blobby, so I'm going to go a little bit less. And I'll actually turn on pressure painting to kind of give me more of a sense. So yeah, that's a little bit better. So I have that. Let's see here. That's kind of the angle I want. So let me start from behind the counter like that. Yeah, there we go. So now I'm going to draw in perspective a little bit here and kind of see the top of his head. He's coming up from behind the counter, so he's going to be staring like this. And his arms are going to be they're going to be obscured for the most part, so I'm not too worried about that. But it'll be something like that. Will be the general setup for him. All right, so that's my sketch. I will kind of lock that into place a little bit. That's enough of a reference to kind of go on. Now I'll actually start making the assets themselves. Well, let's see, what can I borrow here? So let me see if I can actually rotate this down. Looks like I can. I'll rotate this down. Looks like I can do that as well. And again, this is kind of off screen. It's going to be obscured by the cabinet here, so I'm not really too worried about making it completely perfect, but I'll borrow the arms just for placement. I'll grab those down. This is probably where the most work's going to be, is here on his jacket. So I'm actually probably going to have to really lock that reference layer down. I'm going to probably have to just do this one and hand do it. But I'll keep this on the side for reference. Oh, might as well keep the collar and his turtleneck stuff also. And let's see, I will paint this in. For now, I'm probably just going to just do this and do the details later. I'm just going to make the actual body. Kind of do that. Now, the next thing is of course his head. So with his head, all right, so I know I have the right layer for his head. It's over his body that I've drawn here. So now I can't rotate this head. It's not the right perspective, so I'm gonna have to just do it the old-fashioned way and just draw it again. So that's what I'll do. Let's see. Kind of trim this down a little bit more. Even force the perspective a little more. I don't mind some exaggeration. Again, we've kind of designed the cartoon to be a little more loosey-goosey with stuff, so I don't care if it's exactly, if it looks a little bit off model compared to his standard 3/4 head pose there, because this is a really quick frame. So let's see what I can come up with here. I'll group that piece of paint so I can't edit anymore, and I'll see if I can grab some of this. Yeah, so this stuff's all grouped, so I can grab that, paste it on top of Mitchell here, his head here. Let me see if I can just squash it. I'm being kind of a lazy animator bum here by doing that, but this will at least give me some. Already squishing it like that kind of gives it some forced perspective a little bit anyway, so I'm happy with that, but now I've got to tweak it a little bit more. Because this is a group and not actually an actual library object, I can go ahead and wreck this too. So that's what I'll do. I'm going to, and it's all paint, but I'm going to go ahead and just break all this apart. So I hit Control B, and now I'll kind of, I want to kind of trace the contours of the perspective of his paper bag mask. So that's what I'm doing here. That works. And that's okay for the head for now. Now we'll go ahead and draw the rest of his perspective here. I'll kind of add a little bit more to his mask. Let's see here. So the great thing about Mitchell, thankfully, is he's pretty much just a box head for a paper bag head. So that's pretty rudimentary to kind of replicate if you just practice some perspective. If you have a boxy character, it makes life a lot easier. So he's not nearly as complicated as drawing Kalamity Jane or other characters we've got in our library. So that makes it nice. Let's see. So I'm seeing the top of his head here, and I could actually come up with another color here, and I'm just going to play it by ear here, and I'm just going to make something just lighter. and I'll just draw it across. Good enough. And I'll just shape the paint to do what I need it to do. Actually, sometimes I can get really persnickety in Adobe Animate for good or bad, but it's just part of just working, I guess, for X amount of years doing Adobe Animate for 8 hours a day, whatever, drawing stuff. So it's just kind of written into me to kind of be a perfectionist sometimes, and this is what's happening now is my OCD is kicking in. I just want to make sure it looks pretty tight, and so like everything kind of syncs up. But what's funny is you'll see stuff along the rest of this cartoon where I'm doing shots and I'm completely just loosey-goosey. So again, as Eric and I usually talk about, we be pretty hypocritical with our opinions on video games, movies, and even me drawing and doing animation. So yeah, that's part of the fun of being a human, I guess. Let's see. So this head's pretty decent. I could probably squash a little bit. Yeah, like that. Scale it up a little bit. And now this layer is kind of fighting with its arm, so I'm going to raise it up here. So that should take care of that. Yeah, so we've got one of the harder parts of Mitchell done. Now let's get the rest of this jacket kind of figured out here. Because this is, let's see. Okay, I'm going to try that. I'm going to actually just draw on top of it. And let's see here. I will group that so I don't ruin it. And I'll paste this stuff in. Rotate it. Let's see if I can get away with that. Might be able to. With his head in front of his collar, I think we got enough of a play here to not worry about it too much. Alright, let's give that a go. I hate to delete, well, I'm not going to delete that just yet. Let's just test it out. I'll take care of this. This sketch is no longer used for me anymore, so I can throw that out. That's done. Alright, I'm leaving that here for now, my reference stuff here, just in case I do need that collar. I might, but let's see here. Alright, so he comes up from the counter. Do I have this counter separated? Let me see if I do or not. It looks like I do not. If I hide this, that's a prickly pear sign. And then I'm just looking at my reference of what I have. Yeah, so I don't have this counter separated just yet. I mean, that's not a big deal. I can just go back into my character here. I'm gonna fake it for now. I'm gonna put in a mask. So I'll even name it mask. And let's see, we'll call it mask. We'll just set the settings of mask. And I will drag all this stuff to belong to that mask. Now all this stuff falls under the mask. So whatever I draw here is how it'll be masked in. So I will just make a square. I'll make it really obnoxious green so it's easy to see. And let's do something like that. Now if I lock it, there we go. Now he's masked in. I think that's good enough. I'm going to delete this other stuff that I don't need. And let's go ahead and lock him into place. So that's good. Let's see here. Not yet. Okay. So that's where the asset is. This is where he's at. I'm going to make this like 3 frames of him coming up into frame to get into that, to pop into that. So just from going back and forth. So that's where he ends up. That's where he starts. I kind of want to do a little bit of an arc. So And it's only a couple of frames though, so I'm not going to be too picky about this. But this will be his, well, I'll do some asset framing here. I'll turn this into ghosting so I can kind of see stuff. That's where he's going to end up, roughly here. And I'll put another pose here. And then finally, just the tip of his head will be here. So now if we, again, lock it, whoop, he'll come up like that. So he kind of slides over to the left a little bit too much to my liking, so I'll turn that back on here. It's almost like I want him to go this way to kind of add to this arc. So what I'm trying to do here is, and I'll do another sketch for fun, is I want to do an arc like this. So he comes up and he pops into that pose that's already been drawn. So let's see how this works. Let's see if this works. Whoop. Yeah, it's almost there. So I'm actually scooting the main timeline's frames a little bit out to give this enough room to do the pose, to do the animation. Okay, there we go. Let's play it in real time. Okay, not bad. It kind of sticks a little bit, so I can adjust that. These right now, it's kind of on 2s and a 1 and a 1-1, so I'm going to actually delete the frames, all this gap from here and to here. So this is going to be pretty quick that way. So that means I got to massage my main timeline framing a little bit. Yeah. I almost don't know if I need that third frame. Yeah, well, I'll take that one out actually. Let's do 2 frames of it. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty fast, but I'm going to give the audience eyeballs a little bit of a breather by when he gets into this final pose to present everything that he's doing here in the prickly pear. I'm actually going to have him overshoot a little bit. So his anchor point's already in the right spot. You can adjust it by doing this type of stuff and moving around. But I like to have it here because I'm going to scale him upwards like this. Let's see here. Make sure both frames are kind of set with that same anchor point, and they are. So now I will kind of do a squashy, stretchy thing here. And then he pops in a little bit. And I can even add a little bit more of a massage to it by creating a classic tween, and he'll settle in for that middle frame. So let's play it real time here. Yeah, it's a little bit, that feels nice, nice and snappy. Okay, cool. Got him out of the way. Let's see, I do want to get Clem in here now, so let's do a search. I know we have Clem in certain spots here, so let's see. That was before Calamity walked up. She talked to Clem. I remember that. So let's see. There he is. Okay. So we've already done blocking for him. He's already another shot. Looks like it's on layer 11s. All of his stuff. I'll just hide it. To confirm it. Yeah, he's right there. So I will copy it to the RAM. Bring it over. Okay, he's missing here. So I will copy, paste in place. Put him here. And he's missing here. So copy and paste in place. And this is what makes Animate, and a lot of animation programs let you recycle stuff, but this is what I love about Animate. It's just when you do the drawing once or twice, whatever, and you can find other ways to use that same drawing again. Especially if you're a one-man animation team, this is the this is a lifesaver. You don't have to keep drawing it over and over again. So that's always something I love about Adobe Animate / Flash. All right, so he is now all over the place. He's playing cards. Calamity's in place, and Mitchell's in place. So we've got all of our character stuff in place. Now there's a whole other pass I need to do with this, which is the background itself, but that's for completely future streams down the road. But for now, let's play this real time. He clicks on thing, turns on. Oh my gosh, what's that light? And then there's a whole bunch of fanfare, sound effects, and then Mitchell will, hello, this is a prickly pair, welcome, blah, blah, blah. And then more of the lines, leans in, okay, great. He's talking. All this is good. Here's a background element, which will come later, but it's in animatic storyboard form, so we'll keep at it. We'll keep it in place for now, and we'll replace it later. Keep going. So there's a little bit of animation here. I'll do that later, but the blocking's there. Okay, Mitchell talks, keeps talking a little bit, and then 3 X's. Then he goes, oh, poof, and disappears. Okay, so there's some editing I need to do here. So first of all, Mitchell's missing his mouthpiece, his mouth hole. So we need to have that in place. He's also missing his arms here. I'm not sure why that happened. And of course it's user error because I'm the user error is what I meant. Because I'm the only one copying and pasting stuff in. So I will have to put in some arms. A couple ways I could do that. I mean, I could just borrow this, which I will do actually. And I'll bring it into here. Yeah, and it's not too bad. Not too much stuff I need to recycle at all. So let's see. I'll just paste it down on layer 6. Scale it up a little bit. Can rotate a little bit too, sure. All right, so that's in. And I'll keyframe this again, and then bring that arm over. Good enough. Yeah, maybe I should add another arm on the other side too. So I'll copy, paste in place, move it over, and that actually, no, I need to flip it. So I'll just modify, transform, flip it horizontal. It's already looking better. So, okay. Yeah, he talks and talks and talks. That's what Mitchell's specialty is. 3 X's, he says. Okay, now it's time to fix some of this other stuff. So he needs mouth hole here. So we'll go ahead and just, I'm going to force it in the symbol. Let's see here. What do we got? We have MO7 body group is a symbol. And if I go into it, this is all group stuff. So none of this is going to really get too much wreckage if I go ahead and break stuff, but I'll go ahead and copy this, copy that, and now he's got the mouth hole. Last thing I want to do is muffle Mitchell Winchester. He's got some great lines in this short. So we'll keep on going. Oh, and now he needs it over here too. So we'll go back in. Looks like it's a group, so we're good here. And I will, once again, paste in his mouth hole, but let's see, go into here. Can I paste it in here? Yes, I can. And make it a little bit smaller. As long as he's represented there, that's enough of being a model for me. He has a mouth hole now for his paper bag. Today's word is mouth hole. All right, so we keep going. Okay, there's a couple of frames here where he's missing his mouth, so, or mouth hole as the word of the day is. Okay, so I'll go ahead and edit this. I will paste it in place here. And we'll just kind of cycle through. So he's missing it there. Now you see here, this symbol is already done, right? But it's a group. And then because it's a group, it's thinking it's a new piece of art, even because it's not actually officially a symbol. So I made a extra work for myself here, but it's, I mean, because I could have just made this a symbol and then copied it all the way over. But this is minor for me. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'll just go ahead and just keep doing it the dumb way, which is what I'm doing here, is just keep working on the same art and pasting in mouth holes. So anybody using Animate at home, try to think ahead when you're making your work, and if you can kind of think ahead and think, okay, I'm going to use the same artwork over and over again, make it a symbol, then you can avoid the mistake I'm doing here. But it's all good. I mean, it didn't take very long. It was only 1 second. Well, okay, more than that, 10 seconds. All right, so, but that 10 seconds I could be using playing Monster Hunter Rise or something too. So, you know, sometimes you got to make your priorities as you're animating. Oh man, do I really want to waste that 10 seconds drawing the same thing over and over again, or go play Monster Hunter Rise? Well, I think you know what my answer would be. Although, but the other thing is I'm also glutton for punishment, and I like to animate, so it doesn't really. It's a win-win in a sense, but for a mainstream audience, I think Monster Hunter would win. All right, so he is now done there. Boom, he's gone. Does some stuff. Kalamity says something. Clem says something. Keeps playing cards. Blah 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 blah. Yep. Blah blah. Oh, now, gosh, I could have swore I did this a while back. So I'm gonna have to go look in some old files and see if I have this shrug done. But I could have swore I've had this done. So I'm gonna leave that part alone. So I am being okay. And then he's here and he pours a drink. Gosh, I guess I'll have to put the mouth in here as well. So I'll go ahead and do that. Come in, pouring the drink, pouring the juice for Kalamity for his juice bar. And I'll rotate that out. Add the mouth. Does it even matter? Let's see. Yeah, you can still see it. So that's good. Okay, pours it, and then boom, he slams it down. So add a mouth hole here. And a mouth hole here. Oh man, I know, because it's so subtle of a from this pose to the next pose. I'm just gonna borrow this asset, and I'm just gonna paste it in, and then slightly just move it up again. See if it works okay. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, and then he puts the little cherry on top for the umbrella. This is a whole new drawing. Again, I think I may have had this in another version of our stream. This particular pose, I could have swore I remember drawing this. So I will look in the archives. This is going to be revisit later set of animation, because I think I've done this one, but I'll have to look. So right here, this pose is something I know I've done that's already in this file. So let's go back and look for it. So he's leaning in. That's pretty much a typical, what I consider a classic Mitchell character pose. So let's find it. Okay, so it comes up here. That's not it. There it is. All right. I don't want Calamity's stuff at all. I just want him. All right, great. So I will copy all this stuff. And let's go back to where we were. All right, and we can just paste it in here. I can just slide this over a little bit. And I can slide this back over here. This is just placeholder for this counter, but it is fighting with Calamity, so I am going to take the counter. Let's see here, how we're going to do this. So this is Mistral assets here. I'm going to put the counter above him. Actually, I may have to play with the layout here a little bit. I'm not sure. There's the Calamity's getting a little bit crowded. I may have to push her over a little bit. Let's see here. So it does need to be under Mitchell's arm. So I'll go back into his layer, paste it in, and I'm just gonna have to push it down a little bit. So there that is. But then Calamity needs to be above all this. She's here. So I will bring her up here, make sure that's an empty frame. Let's see here. Okay, that works. But I think Mitchell needs to be scooted back a bit. Yeah, and that's good enough. All right, so now that's in place. She says some more stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Some lines here. And then, okay. We have, this will probably be the last little bit I'll be working on tonight, but we'll lay the groundwork in for this stuff, for Mitchell's close-up headshot. And it's pretty standard stuff for him at this point. And I'm just going to block off, by using empty frames, I'm going to block off the scene, the shot for me to look for. All right, let me go look. Now let's go back a little bit. Let's see if I can find the assets that have some close-up shots of Mitchell. Let's see here. So there's this. This stuff looks good. All right, we'll grab this to start with. I'll go back. All right, and let's see, I'll just paste it on layer 4 for now. So this expression is a little bit different here. So I will adjust it a little bit. And again, because this is not borrowing any actual real library asset, I can actually go ahead and rec this. So that's what I will do. This is also a group, so I can rec that. And let's see, I'll put this over here, put this over there. And I'm just going to adjust the paint a little bit. I'll try to mimic my drawing from the storyboard a little bit, see how it works. Sometimes in the storyboards there's no choice but to rely on lines to kind of convey what you're trying to do. But because of the style of Calamity Jane's cartoon, everything's done with shapes. So I'm actually kind of breaking the rule by relying on lines here to do this expression. But it may just, it's a once in a while thing, so I'm going to break the rules here and there. And again, Eric and I constantly break rules anyway when we're debating and putting our foot in the, on the line, or putting our feet in the sand. What's that term is where we put a line in the sand on a debate and then we completely just hypocritically go off onto another tangent and completely wreck our original stance. Well, we could do this here too, even with Calamity Jane. So I have, as you can see, I have a little bit of line here on that original eye, but on this eye, it's a little more of a shape, so I think I'm okay with this. But let's see here. I'm going to follow the contour of the eye a little bit, but make sure it's a soft enough of a curve that doesn't really hurt too much to look at. Let's zoom out. Okay, that's all right. That looks like confusion for Mitchell. So we can push that back to there. So we've got that going on. And then I know he snaps back to a more neutral pose, so we'll do that as well. All right, so that's a neutral pose. I can grab anything for that, so which is what I'll do here. Let's grab this guy. I'll just grab the head itself. Let's see how that goes. So there, and then boom, goes to there. And I'll scale this up. Tilt it a little bit. That's enough of it. It's not, the drawing doesn't need to be redone for this one. I feel like we got enough here to get away with it. So there and there. Okay. And the only thing I'm missing is the body. So we'll go ahead and grab the body. I think I'm gonna completely cut it out here, paste on another layer, his body, that is, and then I'll make a new frame and I'll just kind of tweak a little bit. There. Yeah. So there we go. That's a pretty good spot, I think, to stop for tonight. And then yeah, we got more to, but we got plenty more to work on, but we have laid in quite a bit of shots and content to kind of fill in the rest of this Act 2 for Calamity Jane, Episode 1. All right, yeah, we'll call this good for now. Again, I was flying solo this week, but next week Eric should be back, and we'll have our full crew again. I'm going to do my worst impersonation of Eric because only Eric does it the right way for closing. But you can find us on Patreon, CalamityJane.rocks. Yeah, and we stream every Monday around from 9:30 p.m. on East Coast time and 6:30 on Pacific time. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we will catch you later. Good night, everybody.